Robin's with you in the afternoons.
And I'm here with Jane Ehrman from imagesofwellness.com. And we're doing a little Wellness Wednesday, as we do. Just doing it a little earlier. I really want to thank you, Jane, for coming in a little bit earlier. We've got to get down to American Canyon. They're having Meet Me in the Street over there. So we're going to be broadcasting live in just a little bit in our usual time. But I'm so happy we didn't have to scrap it and we can still be here together. So thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
All right. So we do know, we always talk about things that keep us healthy and well and all those other great things. And there's so many people out there that just don't get enough sleep, myself included, tend to kind of go in waves. I'm either sleeping super well or not at all, for a lot of different reasons, obviously. And some of our kids aren't getting enough sleep either. I've seen that just from teaching kids that are yawning in the middle of math. And I know it's not the most riveting thing for many people, but it definitely shows that we're not all getting that sleep that we need. Some people share about only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night or interrupted sleep. They're awake at midnight or 3 a.m. for an hour or two. And we know that's kind of normal when you have like a new baby in the house or something like that. But this kind of happens more and more just for regular old reasons. And then they're waking up exhausted and not really sure why. Others don't fall asleep until 1 or 2 a.m. And then they feel just absolutely wasted the next day. So how important would you say is a good night's sleep?
Oh, Robin, our sleep is so, so important. It is fundamental to good health. Truly, when you don't get enough sleep and it happens chronically over days and weeks, it actually starts the wheels falling off of all the other pieces of your health. So a good night's sleep helps us to restore our energy. It helps our body to repair and recover, whether you've been ill or you've had some injuries or just getting through the day-to-day things. Good rest helps our brain detox. Did you know that your brain detoxes?
I didn't.
It does between 10 p.m. and midnight. It's really important if you can get to bed before midnight so that your brain can recover itself for the next day. During sleep, the body is actively working to restore its energy, and your immune system is working to rebalance as well. So after a good night's sleep, generally, we're in a good mood, and we feel rested, refreshed, better, clearer thinking, and better able to focus and concentrate.
Wow. So how does being sleep deprived affect us if that's how we're feeling when we're well rested?
Yeah, well, it affects us in multiple ways. Losing even an hour and a half of sleep can affect our alertness, affect some memory problems, forgetfulness. Where am I going today? Which way do I turn, left or right on this road? Brain fog. It lowers our motivation to do even normal daily activities, and we are irritable and moody. And even a good cup of coffee or two doesn't really fix that.
But we'll try.
We'll try. Often people seem to be able to push through the day, but I don't know about you, but for a long time, by midday, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I felt like I was mouth breathing, and I needed some kind of a mocha chocolate latte, something or other, or some sugar, and my staff would make sure that was there.
For sure.
Poor sleep causes cravings for simple carbs. We're talking cookies, pastry, pasta, candy, breads. And this isn't about willpower, Robin. Research has shown your brain is saying, I am just bamboozled here with exhaustion. I need speed food.
So when we're not feeling well, our body is craving food that's not necessarily going to make us feel more well.
No, but it's saying, wake me up. And food wakes up the body.
It does.
As we get older, sleep deprivation, getting less than 7 hours of sleep, can affect balance and coordination. So elders need to be aware of this. It puts elders at risk for accidents and falls and injuries.
So don't use heavy machinery.
Not a good idea.
On some medications and lack of sleep.
Absolutely. Focus and concentration are reduced. And we see this in kids. We see this in kids all the way from preschool on up. Kids that are having a difficult time, and adults. So I used to teach on the college level. I could tell first thing in the morning how many of you actually slept okay or ate breakfast. They were usually staring and mouth breathing. I knew those kids right away. The deep stages of sleep, the REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, helps to lock into the memory what you've been learning. So for students, I strongly recommend taking a nap or going to sleep after a good study session. It locks that information in more effectively in the memory. Pulling all-nighters, and I was guilty of it too back in the day, but it really doesn't help anyone do better on tests.
No, because you just lose it. You don't retain it.
Exactly. And sleep deprivation causes dark circles under the eyes, drooping eyelids, red eyes, and puffy, swollen eyes.
Well, there's enough reason right there for me.
You can't put enough cucumber on your eyelids to fix
no,
that.
There's no creams for that. Well, depending upon your age, how much sleep do we need?
Wow, this is interesting. Research shows adults 65 and over need 7 to 8 hours. 26 to 64-year-olds need 7 to 9 hours.
Okay, that makes sense. That grade 8 that we always hear about.
Absolutely. Young adults, 18 to 25, 7 to 9 hours.
So not the 15 hours that my 20-year-old's always trying to get this summer.
No, that's maybe something else. School-age children, we're talking 6 years old through 13, they need 9 to 11 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And my guess is a lot of children are not getting that. I can't tell you how many young kids I see in this age group that are still up at 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
And they have to be up. They have to be up, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning for going to daycare or going to school or whatever. Toddlers, 1 to 2-year-olds need 11 to 14 hours.
And does that have to be all at once, or does that include naps?
Well, that includes naps. And really, a lot of 1 to 2-year-olds awaken during the night. They're still trying to figure out how to get themselves back to sleep.
Oh, yeah. Been there, done that. It's been a while, but I remember.
Absolutely. The same with infants, 4 to 11 months old, 12 to 15 hours. And you would think as a young mom, when you're home with a child who's getting 12 to 15 hours, you'd be rested. But again, it isn't consistently unbroken.
No. And I always found too, as soon as I'd get the baby to sleep, I'd be thinking in my head, I'm going to get so much done. And then I just wanted to sleep myself.
Absolutely. And that's probably a better thing to do.
Right.
Because you're recovering as well.
For sure.
So then newborns to 3 months old need 14 to 17 hours. So it's really making space, knowing this is what your child needs and recognizing how they're affected when they don't get that sleep.
For sure. Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Jane Ehrman from imagesofwellness.com, and we're talking about how and why getting a good night's sleep is so, so important. And Jane, what are some ways that we can improve our sleep? Even if we're sleeping, what if it's not the best?
So a regular bedtime and wake up time is really, really important. And one that you stick to even on the weekends when it's possible. And you may be doing things that go later at night on the weekends, but for the most part, going to bed at the same time every night and waking up the same time the next morning helps. Also, powering down the technology.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
That is.
Oh my gosh, I know so many people who struggle with that, myself included.
Mm-hmm. I struggle with it at times too. So stop using the devices with screens, whether it's phones, tablets, TV, laptop, whatever, at least an hour before bed. Do you know why? There's a blue light that comes off those screens, and it affects the melatonin in your system, which causes you to feel like it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and, whoa, I'm ready to go, except your body's not ready to go. The other is to avoid falling asleep watching TV. How many people fall asleep on the sofa or whatever?
My hand is up.
Yeah. So this affects your ability to fall asleep once you get up and go to bed, because you've had one cycle of sleep and it's like taking a little power nap. And so now you go upstairs or go to bed, you're brushing your teeth.
Sleep either, because you're hearing the TV.
Right, and you're zoning in and zoning out. Yeah. And so that really messes things up. And you want to if you want to start getting to bed earlier, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't go to bed until even 1 a.m. and then, I don't get up till 9 or 10 or 11. If you want to start getting to bed sooner, then you need to just do it in 15, 20-minute increments. So go to bed 15 or 20 minutes earlier tonight, and after a few nights, go to bed 15 or 20 minutes earlier than that for the next few nights, and repeat that until you get to the time you want to go to sleep.
So like what they say with all things, where if you do it, is it 7 times, it becomes a habit? Just kind of start doing it over and over again, but in baby steps.
Right. And to, look at that as that's one of my health boundaries. When people say, oh, how's that going to affect you the next day? And what do you really want for yourself? Look at your priorities.
Sure. What about napping? Because I know sometimes I'm just kind of done by the mid-afternoon, and I know I've got to come in here. So maybe around 1:30 or so, I'll kind of try and lay down a little just to rejuvenate. Is that a good plan or not a good plan?
That's a great plan, Robin, because napping in the afternoon, as long as you do it before 3 o'clock and not more than 30 minutes, is a good idea.
So not during the afternoon drive.
No, not during the afternoon drive, please. And also not for longer than 30 minutes, because you wake up with a sleep hangover. You feel like you've been hit by the bus.
Right.
So you want to aim for a power nap of 15 to 20 minutes, and it re-energizes you. Otherwise, you'll have a difficult time if you do that power nap later in the day or for longer, getting to bed, fall asleep at night. And a lot of elders end up doing that. They're taking an hour-long nap at 4 in the afternoon, and then 10, 11, midnight, they're still wide awake because they've had too long of a nap, too close to the evening, and they can end up getting their days and nights mixed. It's really messy that way.
Oh, no, that's not a good plan. What about nighttime snacking and alcohol?
Avoid
a glass of wine before bed.
That's not the best time. Have it with your dinner or right after dinner. But what happens is that alcohol makes it difficult to have deeper levels of sleep. Same thing with caffeine. If you have it, I don't drink any caffeine after 10 a.m. at this point in my life, because otherwise I can tow a truck at 2 in the morning. Not a good thing.
That's quite a trick, though. I'd kind of like to see that.
Yeah, well, it probably wouldn't be a pretty sight. So avoiding heavy meals and late night snacking is really good, because your body is trying to digest that food, and it's difficult to fall asleep when that's happening. The other thing is, when you find yourself hungry at 9 o'clock at night and you've had a really good dinner, it's because your body is tired and it's saying, look, either take me to sleep or feed me so I wake up. It wants one or the other. And sometimes there's an inner rebel in us that says, I was made to go to sleep at 8 o'clock when I was a little kid. No one's going to make me go to sleep. And so we try to stay up later. For people who are doing that, that's really unhelpful. So that, combined with avoid alcohol before bedtime, is a good idea.
Sounds like a good plan. So again, I'm speaking with Jane Ehrman, who is here with me for Wellness Wednesday from imagesofwellness.com. We're talking about sleep and why a good night's sleep is so important. How do you go about calming your body and your mind? Especially if you're kind of like, my daughter works in one of our restaurants and works dinner shifts, comes home and says, I can't go to sleep right now. I'm kind of amped up.
Right. That's not uncommon. So some gentle yoga or stretching, some slow, deep breathing can help break up that tension and soften the tension in the body. Keeping the room cool, the cooler the room, the better that you'll sleep. Even in the winter, just having the window cracked a little bit will really help. For some people, white noise or a fan blowing. My kids always have loved a fan blowing in their room. I never really had liked that, but they found it really helpful to go to sleep.
Sure. Well, that makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or the 3 good things. We talked about that on a previous segment. Just going over what are the things for which you're grateful today. And that changes your mood and calms things down for you. And it can make it easier for you to relax and let go of the day and go to sleep.
Such a nice way to end the day, on such a positive note, especially if it's been kind of a cruddy day. There's always those 3 things hidden in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of how you get to reframe things. Well, Jane, what can a person do to get back to sleep if they wake up in the middle of the night? I've noticed as I get older, more and more often, I might be finding myself waking up in the middle of the night when I didn't used to do that.
That's a lot more common than you realize, Robin. And for some people, it's they have to use the bathroom during the night. But sometimes it's just you wake up. And as babies, we had to learn how to get ourselves back to sleep.
Right.
And so adults, it's using some things to help yourself. So if one of them is that you have to get up and use the bathroom, it's really helpful to have a motion-activated night light in the bathroom so that just this little light comes on that's just enough light to keep you safe, not bumping around trying to get
But
through
not
the room.
turning on the whole bathroom light.
Yes, that really wakes you up.
Right.
Avoid looking at the clock. In fact, we don't even have a clock in our bedroom. Because what happens is, it really doesn't matter if you have 20 minutes left or 2 hours left to sleep. You start doing the math. Oh,
Right.
It's 2 a.m. I have to get up at 6. You're waking yourself up. Avoid thinking. Sometimes it's like, what is today? And what do I have going on today? That's like gasoline on the fire. You're waking yourself up. Avoid, or I didn't mean to say that. Well, yeah, avoid thinking about the day ahead, but focus on getting back into bed if you've gotten out of bed, getting comfortable, and tell yourself, all I need to do is lie here and breathe. Nothing else is required.
And then hopefully your body will just do what it needs to do at that point.
Yeah, when you start thinking, pull it back to just breathing.
Oh, what a great idea. Well, what can you tell us to kind of wrap it up here as far as Wellness Wednesday and just what we can do to help ourselves get that good night's sleep that's just so important?
It's important to remember that getting a good night's sleep really is vital to being well. So evaluate how much you're sleeping and how much your family is getting sleep, and take important steps if necessary to improve the amount of sleep that everybody's getting. You'll all be better off and probably be in better moods.
Well, I know I always am when I get a better night's sleep. So thank you, Jane, for joining us. And we've been speaking with Jane Ehrman from imagesofwellness.com on the importance of getting a great night's sleep, because I think it's one of those things we all know is important, but there's lots of science behind it as well. Thanks for joining us, especially a little bit earlier this week so that we can head off to American Canyon and have a good little party there and get home in time for a good night's sleep. So thanks so much.
99.3 The Vine. Live it up.